Hi, this is John Henson. I want to welcome you to episode number 5 of my contest prep video series sponsored by Old School Labs. In this contest prep video series, I am detailing the training and nutrition I am following as I prepare to compete in two competitions this year in 2025. The first competition I'm getting ready for is June 28th, 2025 in St. Pete, Florida. It's called the St. Pete Pro. I'll be competing in the Masters over 60 division in that contest. And then 1 week later, I'll be traveling to Teaneck, New Jersey to compete in Steve Weinberger's MPC Universe competition. And I'll also be competing in the over 60 Masters division in that competition as well. This will be a national level competition, and the overall winner of that division will get his pro card. So this video was filmed on Friday, June 20th, 2025. I am 1 week out from my competition, which takes place on June 28th in St. Pete, Florida. In this video, you're going to see me training back and biceps. Now, my coach, Paul Revelia from Pro Physique, likes to do a peak week before the competition. Paul's strategy for the peak week is to do a severe depletion of carbohydrates the weekend before the contest on Saturday and Sunday. This is where I'll lower my carbohydrates very low, and I'll also do 90 minutes of cardio, splitting that up into two 45-minute sessions. After that depletion on Monday, we start what's called linear loading, where we slowly increase the carbohydrates and decrease the cardio each day leading up to the contest. In order for Paul to get a really good feel for what was going to work for my body and the number of carbohydrates that I would need, Paul decided to do two trial run peak weeks. The video you're seeing today is going to be the end of our second peak week, and then I will start my last peak week, which is the actual peak week, the week before the competition. So because the peak week involves linear loading, where we load the carbohydrates each day starting on Monday and go gradually up until Friday, today was Friday when I filmed this video, so I was shooting for 220 grams of protein, 350 grams of carbs, and 50 grams of fat. My actual numbers were very close to that, but a little bit over. I actually went to 224 grams of protein, 405 grams of carbs, and 50 grams of fat. I did not do any cardio on this day. I just did this back and bicep workout. And then the following day, on Saturday, June 21st, I started my final peak week, which was my actual peak week, and I started a depletion again on that day. So my body weight on Friday, January 20th, was 192.3 pounds, very low. And my waist actually was a little below 33 inches. It was 32 and 7/8 inches. By the time I got to my workout at 4 o'clock, my weight had increased to 200.6 pounds. And that, of course, is with my clothes and my shoes on. Before we get to the back and bicep workout, exactly 1 week from my first competition, I want to thank again my sponsor, Old School Labs, for supporting me in this journey to compete and try to get my pro card in the over 60 division. When you get a chance, check out their website at oldschoollabs.com, and don't forget to use my discount code, which is NATURALO, and you'll get a really good discount on your order. All right, without any further ado, let's get to my back and bicep workout exactly 1 week from my first competition, the St. Pete Pro, and this took place on Friday, June 20th. Here we go. All right, we're starting off with my back and bicep workout. This is about 1 week out from the contest. I'm starting off here with close grip pull downs, which I think is a great exercise for the lower part of the lats. It's also a great warm up. So I'll do 3 total sets here. I'll do one warm up set with 100 pounds for like 15, 20 reps. And then I'll do 2 working sets here today with 145 pounds, pulling the V bar right down to the front of the chest. Great warm up exercise. All right, now I'm going to 3 sets of wide grip chins. And of course, this is the best exercise for building width in the upper lats. And one advantage I have of dieting and being lighter in weight is that I can do the chin-ups pretty easily. I'm getting around 9 or 10 reps here every set because my body weight is a lot lighter. All right, now I'm going over to the 2-arm dumbbell rows. This is the main mass builder for building up more thickness in the lats. And you guys know that I'm always training heavy, and I'm making the workouts progressively heavier even as I'm dieting. Now here I'm only 1 week out from my competition, but I'm still using the 105-pound dumbbells, and I'm going for 3 sets of 10 here. So what I do here is I just try to keep my back parallel to the floor, and I'm rowing the dumbbells up right into the side, keeping my elbows as high as possible. So a little bit of body English here in the beginning. It's not a super strict movement. Obviously, I'm not doing it laying on a bench, but I think this is a better mass builder when you make it more of a compound movement using free weights instead of making it more of an isolation movement. So it was very, very tough getting these 3 sets of 10 reps with the 105s, but I was able to do it. All right, my second thickness or rowing movement is what they call the meadow rows. This is called meadow rows after the legendary fitness coach John Meadows. And I was doing T-bar rows at the beginning of my prep, but it was putting like a lot of stress on my lower abs. And I find it's very easy to get hurt when I'm dieting and I'm getting really low in body fat. So this was more of a stable movement than just bending over a T-bar row. So with this one, I put my left leg or the leg closest to the bar. I put that a little bit forward, the other leg's a little bit backwards, and I put my hand on my knee to stabilize myself. I try to keep my body parallel to the floor and just row it up and to the side. Obviously, you don't need as much weight here because you're doing it one arm at a time. Here's my training partner, Matt, doing his set. And you're just rowing it up right into the side. Really good movement for the middle part of the lats. So we're using about 100 pounds here, four 25-pound plates, and I'm getting around 10 reps each set. So Matt keeps his body just a little bit higher than me. I try to go a little bit more parallel to the floor, just like I was doing with the dumbbell rows. You really feel this right in the middle of the lats, but it isolates it a little bit better, like I said, than doing the T-bar rows. All right, now that we've trained pretty much all the areas of the back, the lower lats, the upper lats, and 2 thickness movements, I'm going to the hyperextensions. This is the hyperextension on an angle, and I'm using a little bit of extra weight here. I'm grabbing a 90-pound plate, and I'm getting around 12 reps or so, and then I'm going to drop the plate and then do another 12 reps. So I'm doing a total of like 24 reps, getting a really good pump in the lower back, but also training the glutes and the hamstrings a lot, because when you start doing these drop sets like this, you're really going to feel the burn in the glutes and the hamstrings. But it's always important to always train the lower back. I don't do deadlifts anymore, so this is a great movement for the lower back. All right, now that the back movements are done, we're going over to the biceps. So I'm starting off with the alternating dumbbell curls, doing a total of 3 sets here, starting with the 40s to warm up for 10 reps, and then going to the 45-pound dumbbells and doing 2 sets of 10. Now you'll notice the form here when I do these. The part of the dumbbell that's toward the rear when I'm holding it to the side, I try to curl that up so it's just in line with my front deltoid. And by doing this, you're really supinating the bicep and getting a really good contraction in the muscle. So I always try to keep the elbow right by the side. But yeah, just always when you're doing this exercise, really try to curl that dumbbell so you're getting a really good peak contraction. So after 3 sets of the alternating dumbbell curls, I'm doing 2 sets now of the preacher curls. So I've got a moderate weight here, only about 80 pounds, including the bar, and I'm doing 2 sets of 10. Not a lot of sets for the biceps. It's a smaller muscle group. They get trained really hard when you're doing the back workout. So I get as good of a stretch as possible, but you have to be very careful with the preacher curl. You don't want to extend too far down. You could cause an injury to the tendon, so I'm really careful with that. All right, and now I'm finishing the workout off with the forearms. So I like to superset forearms. I like to work the top part of the forearms with the bottom part of the forearms. So I'm doing the reverse curls here using an easy curl bar with about 80 pounds. And I'm doing 3 sets of 10 reps. This is a great exercise for the flexor muscles on top of the forearm. You're also going to train the brachialis muscle, which is the small round muscle that lies between the biceps and triceps. As soon as I put the bar down, I run over here and I grab another bar. This is about a 100-pound barbell, and I'm doing wrist curls standing for the flexor muscles on the bottom of the forearm. So go all the way down, get a good stretch, and then come up as far as you can and really get a good contraction.